What's up? Welcome, everyone. This is episode number 8 of the Do No Evil, Speak No Evil show, where I interview awesome individuals making a positive local impact. I'm your host, Blair Neher, a.k.a. the Chief Primate. Today, my guest is Nick Pinero, founder and chairman of the Gilbert Foundation. The Gilbert Foundation combats veteran unemployment and homelessness by helping veterans with acquiring professional certifications that lead to jobs. So Nick is a Navy veteran. So first of all, thank you for your service, my man, and thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, sir.
Nice. So once again, we have to give a shout out to Optima Med, who has again let us use their facility for the show. Optima Med is a higher education consulting firm based here in Richmond. Optima Med provides college admissions and financial aid coaching for students, with the end game being attendance at the best fit college at an affordable price, leading to the right career. Thanks again, Tom Leahy and Optima Med. All right, man, let's get into it.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely, man. It's my pleasure, man. You're doing great stuff. So let's talk about the foundation first. I'm sure I didn't do it justice in the introduction, so please tell us what the Gilbert Foundation does or what it is and what it does.
All right. Well, the Gilbert Foundation is a 501c3 company. What we do is we fund job certifications for veterans that are not covered underneath the GI Bill, the post 9/11, or any other kind of college fund. Out there is the yellow ribbon. We'll cover that for free. Or if they've expended their benefits, they gave it to a spouse, they gave it to a dependent, they got a degree and they couldn't get a job, we'll go ahead and cover that for free. And then also we'll help with job placement and the awarded certification. And that's it in a nutshell. But yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. We try to move around. We try to extend our reach a lot. You know, we try to go to the different colleges, to the different schools. Some of the schools have different certification programs, so we've actually been attacking that. Some of the trucking companies offer endorsements. We'll come in and we'll help them out so that there's no break in the schooling for the veteran.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. So let's next get into your story, man. You're a Navy veteran. Tell us about your background and how and why you started the foundation and your passion for helping veterans.
Well, it started. I'll start with the Navy. I did not want to join the Navy when I first started. I'm not gonna lie. I went to join the Marine Corps, and I apparently had too many tattoos for the Marine Corps. So they were like, "Is that
even a thing?"
It's a thing. I said a few choice words, and I walked right around the corner to the Navy recruiter, and they were like, "Come on down. It's cool. Don't even worry about it." And I signed up to MEPS. They said, "When do you want to leave?" I said, "Oh, I want to leave when it's warm outside." They're like, "Oh, okay. You're gonna leave now, January 2nd, 2001." I was checked into Recruit Training Command in Great Lakes. And I started, and I did 12 years, and I had a blast. I did 5 deployments, and
that's crazy.
It's awesome. It was great. I met a lot of great people. I met a lot of mentors, people that molded me. When you're young, you want to not listen to anybody. You want to do your own thing, and they kind of helped me out. By first not being able to pronounce my last name. So at first it was Pino because they couldn't pronounce Pinero. I still don't understand that. They helped me out. The guys that worked for me helped me out because I knew what it was like to lead. You have to be able to, lead by example. So that kind of changed my perspective on things. But I had a great time. I was a damage controlman, first class when I got out of the military. Like I said, I had a great time. We did a lot of firefighting, a lot of maintenance, working down the engineering spaces. I was stationed in California for about 5.5 years. And then I moved over to the East Coast. And I didn't want to. They told me, whatever you do, never get stationed in Virginia. And if you ever get stationed in Virginia, never, ever get stationed on the USS Enterprise. So I told my detailer, I said, you know what, I want to take Japan. He said, all right, good. Here's Japan. And when I got my orders, it said the USS Enterprise, Virginia. I said, oh, my God, what are you doing? And he said, take it or get out. And I had already re-enlisted. So I took my behind to Virginia, and it was a culture shock. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, so I'm from the East Coast. And but being in Virginia Navy was a culture shock to me. My tattoos were not really accepted, and but I met some really great people, and that's how I met Chief Warrant Officer Gilbert. And mind you, I met some really great guys along the way too. Boa King Cox, one of my chiefs. Jeffrey Foster, another DCC. Great guys, but But Chief Warrant Officer Gilbert was the first one to ask me, what I thought about things. And it was a huge thing. I never thought about that. I was just always told to do. Make sure you take care of your guys. But Warrant asked me, what do I think? And how do you think we can get it done? So it changed my mind. I started saying, instead of I can do this, well, we can do this. And it was a huge step. But to progress, after that, I went to another group called the Float Training Group, where we actually went around to the different ships on the East Coast and did training, engineering training and firefighter training, and then we tested them on that training. Mm-hmm. It was great. But in 2012, I said, I'm done. I appreciate everything. Had a great time, and I went off and did other things.
Did you feel like you started to get your niche in the training, hit your stride there, or?
Oh, I did. I loved it. I thought it was a great thing. I liked interacting with people. I felt the way I perceived the standards, the tech manuals, the way we did things. I felt that I can teach people better, and I was doing great. And actually, I got out and I was teaching at a Merchant Marine Academy. I had a blast. I was teaching firefighting. I went to engineering, and in actuality, that's actually where I lost my job, and it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I did it. I lost it the Friday before Christmas, and let me tell you, it's not really easy finding a job during Christmas. Maybe if you're working at Toys R Us, it's not around anymore.
Not anymore.
No, it's not. So I'm glad I didn't really start working there, or Blockbuster. So no, it was hard. It's a full-time job, looking for a full-time job.
Yeah.
Going to putting your stuff out there on the different websites, going to the job fairs, putting yourself out there. I bought a suit. I've never worn that suit after that. Never wore that suit again. But I bought a suit. It was the most expensive piece of clothing I think I have, and it was $100, including the shoes. And I wore it. And I didn't get a job. And so, I mean, but it's cool. It's the experience, and that's what led to what we're doing. But I started working at a staffing agency, and it was actually the lady at the staffing agency kind of shaped me into how other people are going to perceive me. She was like, well, how much do you want to make an hour? Well, I said, I want to make this, but I'll settle for this. Maybe I can go lower. And she had an English accent, so it was pretty, interesting. Nothing, you can't be yelled at unless you've been yelled at with some of the English accent. But she said, Nick, don't sell yourself short, because if you treat yourself like that, everyone else will. And then she went into my first job interview, and she made sure I got paid what I wanted to get paid.
Nice.
And it was cool. It was my first inspection job, and it was great. I was walking around doing my own thing, and went to another company, and but the training thing was good because it helped me to talk to people, to be able to communicate my idea to them and be more relatable. But it helped out a lot, though. And so
do you think that now I'm a veteran, now I don't have a job, do you think that kind of inspired you to, create the Gilbert Foundation as to what it is today? Is that time frame in your life is what probably did it?
Yes. Yeah, it was the driving force of that, because it sucked, and going through that. And I knew, I know my mom taught me at a younger age that someone else is going to always have it a lot worse than you are. And also, your situation is no different from a lot of other people's situations. So you have to think about that. And it caught me. I was like, man, who else is going through this stuff? I was like, if I'm in a better situation, I want to give back. I want to be able to help people. And in 2015, I started my own company. We've been doing really good. It's an inspection company. We do up and down the East Coast.
Yeah.
And after I started, I wanted to help other people. So I started looking out to see if I can reach other veterans, like word of mouth kind of thing, or going through social media, seeing people who are having a hard time, then reaching out to them. Say, hey man, how can I help you out? And but it caught on. And the one thing I always thought, and Chief Warrant Officer Gilbert, he passed away in 2012 due to pancreatic cancer, and it was really hard for me. It was really hard because I didn't go to see him, and it hit me a lot. I was like, man, I didn't see him when I was in the hospital. We messaged on Facebook, You know, he's like, I'm really proud of you for you know, for getting out, or for actually having a job. And this is when I was teaching. And for me not to be able to go see him, it was really hard. But I wanted to do something in dedication to him.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't want to be pretentious or anything. I didn't want to be about me. It was always about someone else. And I have a lot of, you know, mentors that were still in the military and who were alive. So, but for him, it was a big impact because he always believed it was the right person for the right job.
Yeah.
And that's huge for me because he didn't see, you know, this. He didn't see what I looked like. He saw what was up here. And so that's what I wanted to start doing for people. And so that's why we named it the Gilbert Foundation.
Gotcha.
And but that was a driving force, yeah. But that one time in my life, all it takes is one time for something to change. All it takes is one person to inspire you to be able to do things.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, that was the reason, yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I got to bring up how much of a hustler you are, man. You know, we're mostly talking about the Gilbert Foundation today, but on a professional note, you kick some serious ass in the industrial space. Talk about your drive and what's inspired you to start and run multiple companies now.
Mm-hmm. So it starts. I always have to go back to the military. It starts with the military. I remember not being qualified in something, and I would get on to somebody for not doing a job that I thought that they could do better, or I thought that I could do better, and they'd be like, "Well, you're not qualified. If you're not qualified, just go away." I'm like, "Oh, I'll get you. All right." And that's what I saw. I saw that, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of drive and I have a lot of motivation.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's from my family. A lot of it's from my mom. You know, the woman has 3 master's degrees in different things. So, you know, I'm just hanging out. You know, I only went to 9th grade. I went to college after that, but you know, but the drive and motivation, it really does. I hate to say, it really does run in my family. But I thought I could do something better, and if you can do it, and if you fail, well, you can't do it better. So I started an inspection services company. I did really well. Started in 2015. Kind of expanded a little bit faster than I thought it was. I had to hire somebody, then I had to hire more people. We started doing up in Philly. Then we started doing over in Baltimore. We went down to Savannah. We went down to North Carolina. And yeah, we've been doing really good. For what specifically we do, we're only 1 to 3 companies in the United States that specifically do what we do. You know, a lot of government agencies do it, but we do it. And yeah, and I try not to be better. I try to be really humble about things because it's all about working with you than me just telling you that I'm this great thing and I'm, you know, the next thing since sliced bread. But it's not about that. And like I said, I come at you, you know, like an equal. And it's been working out really well.
Yeah.
And also you have to know what you're talking about. You can't come in there and say a bunch of stuff and then they're like, oh, no, this makes no sense, because you will be called out on it. Yeah. And you always have to be right. I learned early on, working in the engineering field, you never say, I don't know. You say, I'll find out the answer, but you never give them a wrong answer, because if you do, it takes away your credibility.
Yeah.
And when that's shot, it's shot. But then I started opening up other companies, and we've actually been doing really good. And also that helped us launch the Gilbert Foundation.
Right.
So we can self-fund. We can go out there. We can reach a lot more people. We can reach a lot more veterans. With the company, with the inspection services company, we help schools. We help Title I schools. We found a need. I found that people were on the GoFundMe page for trying to raise money for Title I schools. Those are schools for low poverty areas or below low poverty areas. And I was like, man, this is, you know, I'm originally from Brooklyn. I'm originally from Coney Island. We used to live in the projects. My grandmother lived in the projects. So you see these things, you know, and if you're in a position to help people, well, you take that initiative.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, well, maybe no one else is going to, you know. And the backstory, you know, I remember me and my mother, we would go eat lunch at her college. We would go, and the lunch ladies would give us food. And it was like, you know, your kid, you're like, oh, this is so cool, I'm going to a school. But there's a bigger picture. But someone was helping. And but no, we started doing supporting their programs, their special programs. You know, we would do the books, we would do the uniforms, we would do their instruments so that they can have music class. If they wanted to do sports, we were there. And there was no, well, you're going to have to wait a month, you're going to have to wait on this, you're going to have to wait for me to talk to these certain people. No, if you want it, it's about now. and we need to. It's all about reaction times, So we've been helping out, and we've been expanding to help people into the Richmond area where we're based out of, and it's been good though. Like I said, it's all about helping people, but trying to make an impact, because you never know, one of those people might be doing what I'm doing, when you talk to them.
Yeah.
And it's also good because I have a lot of tattoos, so it desensitizes kids and everybody else. Well, he's not so bad, he's doing really good things. He's covered in tattoos, but it's completely cool. But
it's you definitely are covered and got that that look or whatever, but you quickly find out that you're an extremely humble and giving person. As soon as you talk to you can figure out what you're doing, so that kind of disarms any qualms people should have. Oh, cool, man. So let's talk about some of the different types of certifications that people can, or veterans can get through the Gilbert Foundation. I know that there's tons and you're expanding into a lot of fields, but like, what are the most common certifications and then the jobs coming out of from those certifications?
Okay. I'll start with the lower end, and then I'll work up to the higher end. So some of the lower end certifications are like your OSHA certifications, safety certifications, like your OSHA 10, your OSHA 30, your hazardous worker operator qualifications, HAZWOPER. Those will allow you to work in certain industries, commercial, industrial, or anywhere that's really required there to be an OSHA presence.
Okay.
But in order for you to get your foot in the door, you have to have those certifications.
Oh, just to even work at a place like that.
Yes, yeah. And so the companies won't pay for it. If you look at some of the job requirements, it's a wicket, and you have to meet that. Of course, the driver's license, but those certifications. Now, mind you, those certifications are not a lot. They might be between $30 to almost $200. But that'll let you get your foot into the door to be able to work there, and so that you could start making, it really depends. It's not minimum wage jobs that we're really talking about. That's not the idea. There's always a good thing with minimum wage jobs, but the idea is to, when you're certified, that you could start moving up in the totem pole. And those usually start between $15 to $17, which is great. Then we start going to some of the other stuff. Dog handling is a certification. Dog handling, you can make about $60,000 depending upon where you work. Now, mind you, I don't know about the SPCA. I can't tell you that. But some of the other ones that do some serious training, the ones here, they can make pretty good money.
Nice.
Trucking companies. If you get a CDL's covered on the post 9/11 or the GI Bill, college fund or whatever, but the endorsements are not. You have certain tonnage, your hazmat. We'll cover that.
Right.
Your TWIC, your travel worker ID card. We list that actually as a certification. It's by the TSA. It allows you to go into terminals where ships come into. It allows you to travel to certain areas. But we'll cover that. That's $123 that person has to pay out of their pocket. When you're looking for a job, money's really tight, and you just don't have that. And you don't have that time to go through certain channels. We're pretty fast on stuff. Then we can come to things like what I do, like NACE, National Association of Corrosion Engineers. We have our own certification program. When you're looking at a level 1 certification for NACE, you're looking between $70,000 and $80,000 a year. Also NDT, people who do testing on metal. That class, we can take certification classes between $1,000 and $3,000. But when you get out of that class, you can make a lot of money. You're making up into the 90,000s depending upon what you're doing, because you're working on. Yeah, it's great, because the pipeline jobs. I know a lot of people don't. It's a touchy situation with the pipeline jobs, but for the inspectors, they're making sure that metal is not going to rupture. It's not going to leak in anywhere, any place. And so before they lay that down, it's required that they do certain inspections. State and federal government require these things, and so they're out there doing it. So. That's one thing. Certified weld inspector, that's another one. So these are on the higher one. Then we start going to IT industry. The one right now, we're waiting for him to test out on the certification, but he can make some good money. IT industry, those certifications, yeah, you have to pay a couple thousand up front, but what you can make down the line, even working with like Cisco, you can make a lot of money in hundreds of thousands.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't really understand that. They're like, well, it's a lot of work. I have to do this, and that. We have a roof inspection qualification that takes a couple of days to do. It's an infrared thermographer. So you take an infrared gun, and you could do roof inspections. You know, you can make $60 an hour doing roof inspections, working for like Home Advisor. Mind you, there's background checks, but that's out there, you know, and you can contact us if you're interested in something. Like, well, I don't really know. And I could shoot some ideas at you and see if you're interested in it. And we could send you to those classes to do that. Yeah.
So I got my own little story about Cisco. I was working for a company, and we were at Capital One. Capital One outsourced all of IT. And so we went to this other company. They're like, we'll bring you on as long as you get your CCNA within a year, which is their 2-part test, and we'll send you to the boot camp. So they sent us to this boot camp. It was hard. It was really hard. I've been in IT a long time, and a lot of it was way over my head. Yeah. And they offered the test at the end of the week, and they're like, we recommend that you don't take the test and that you go home and study. And I was like, I got this. So I took the test, and I got a 50. me and the other guy took the test, and we both failed.
That's awesome.
And so for the next 2 months, I used practice tests and studied every day. And I went and took it, and I barely passed, but that test is hard. And the CCNA now it's just the first one. Then there's like CCIE. Yeah. And that's where you start getting into the serious network engineer. But my point is, those guys make a ton of money. I never used it one bit because I was always on the voice side, the intelligent call routing, which there's no certification for. It's just a kind of an older school technology, their ICM platform. But you know, there's that whole path in Cisco. But man, is it hard? You better be smart. Yeah.
Those are Jedi Genius certifications.
Yeah, I like the roofing certification. Just point a gun at something. That sounds like me all day long.
There's words that you have to use, what also blows my mind, like emissivity, the reflection of how the sun bounces off of something, so that when you see something, it's blacked out. Like, well, what is that? So you have to know some things, though. But I mean, other than that, you're just looking. And I always relate to like the Predator movies. Like, that's exactly what it looks like. And they're like, oh, all right. And then when you explain things like that, you just kind of tone it down with these fancy words. Like, oh, everyone always understands what you're talking about.
Right.
You know, so it's pretty cool. But that one that you mentioned, the
CCNA or CCIE?
CCIE. That's one I just talked to someone about, and that's one that will start you over 100 on the lower end. You know.
Well, CCNA should get you 100.
Yeah.
But you can't take one before the other, so you have to pass the CCNA and then work your way up. And then there's like architect stuff after that, which is just about this high. If you can see that high over my head.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, there's so many certifications, and it's a lot of stuff. You know, we can also help you, but a lot of stuff is the legwork. A lot of stuff is you as an individual also have to do that legwork, because you have to see what's going to drive you. You know, I tell everyone right now, I just watch paint dry all day. Like, what do you do, Nick? I just watch paint dry. Most of my family doesn't even know what I do, and I kind of gave up on it. Like, I don't know. I just kind of hang out and move my hands around in a menacing manner. And you know, if you talk to the guys that work for me, they'll probably say that too, because they're like, oh my God, I repeat myself, or what are you going to do? You're just going to point and just going to drive around all day? No, but, you know,
yep.
So I gave up, and I'm like, it's cool. So when certain things happen, I at least know what I'm talking about. But no, you know, a lot of it's the legwork on that individual. Like, what's going to drive you? What's going to motivate you to do something?
Yeah.
You know, and we'll help you out.
And I think you made a good point on when you said, when you're searching for a job, or even when a veteran is homeless, they don't have the $10 or the $50 to get the most basic certification. So what y'all are doing is incredible, because you're taking that relief off and opening that huge door of opportunity for people.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just like you said, the homeless vets. That's a big thing. You know, if we run across things like that, you know, that's common. And it sucks that it's common, but it's common.
Yeah.
And those are all situational things. If you tell me on a Friday that you just got laid off, or you need a job, or you don't even have a job, you just walk in, you say, hey, I need a job. We'll help you out. We'll get you a job. We'll get you even a permanent, like a temporary job, just so that we can find another job for you. Because the whole thing is about empowering you, you know, making sure that you can provide for yourself and whoever your family is. And then we'll work on something else so that you can build off of. Mind you, I'm not going to go into like the pay scale, but you know, 2000 and 2013, when I started working doing inspections, mind you, 2013, it was a progressive thing. 2013, I started doing the inspections. Mind you, I was doing the inspections in 2007 when I first got certified in the industry. But in the civilian community, 2013. In 2015, I had my own company, and we've expanded in the course of a couple of years. So it's really your drive, but we'll help you out, but it's all about progression. Don't think because you're making minimum wage today that you'll make minimum wage, a year from now or even a couple months from now. It's about how much you put into something, they'll put into you, hopefully.
Yeah, like anything. Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about your I don't know what the right name for it, but the prison program where you're helping veterans who have, for whatever reason, landed themselves in prison, get a certification and break that cycle of going right back out, screwing up again, and getting thrown in jail, which it's a devastating trap for veterans and all kinds of folks who screw up one time and then end up in this big loop. So talk about your what is it called?
Well, it's still part of the same program that we have, but what we're doing is working with the Virginia Department of Corrections, and I have to say that their program, and I've looked at the other states, their program is really in depth. I mean, these people really do care. I met these individuals at a Joint Leadership Council meeting. It's put on every quarter. They meet up with a lot of the local nonprofits, one of the larger ones. And anyway, I just started talking to people, and I met this guy, and we really hit it off. And he invited me down to see what he was doing. And it was, I'm not going to lie, for me I've never been in prison, but it's almost like deployment, everybody's together and you have scheduled meetings. Anyway, the whole goal is for this program, for their veteran reentry program, is to not do repeat offenders, so that when these individuals get out, these veterans get out, they have a good opportunity wherever they go. They found that veterans as a whole, we feed off of each other. We need that structure. And like I said, building off of that, it's really easy. So when we meet up with them, we say, what are you into? What would you like to do? Mind you, some of these individuals might be coming out in a month. Some of these individuals might be coming out longer than a year. But you treat everybody the same because you never know.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is, mind you, Virginia has a lot of OJT, on-job training. They work with people. They work with like a therapeutic form of art to help them out, to help with the stress, but also help them with job skills, which is great. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish a lot of other states would have that.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyway, so we're working with them, and we can qualify these individuals to help them get good jobs. So say they're not working at the 7-Eleven, so they don't have that downtime. So they're making good money. They're being able to provide for their family, or even themselves, whatever have you, though. So they have a good opportunity. Everybody messes up. We all mess up. I've been to captain's mass. Captain's mass is non-judicial punishment in the military, where they give you the hammer. They're like, look, this, and this. I mean, we all have, but it's all about your second chance. Now, if you don't take that second chance and recidivism, it's going to mess you up. But yes, that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to work with every prison in the state of Virginia. That's what we've been welcomed to do, and it's been good. We are looking actually for volunteers to help us out, preferably someone who's retired, because this is going to be, an ongoing thing. Mind you, it sucks that there's always people in prison, but there's always people in prison. They're going to need help when they come out, and we want to be a good resource for that, and we have, because we're not looking to take anything monetary from them. We're just trying to see what we already do, just trying to work it in with, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's been really good, though.
And it's, looking for a job as an ex-con is extremely tough.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is, again, helping them break that cycle by coming out with a certification in a field that will hire them because of the certification and because they've worked with you. Mm-hmm. So that's just awesome, man. And these kind of programs are just so uplifting. I'm not a veteran myself, but the veteran subjects are important and sensitive to me for whatever reason. They've kind of grabbed me in the whole Synapse thing. I'm tied to OEW and Tech for Troops. So again, it's not something I've gone through personally, but it's just such a rough rough rap that some of these guys are that end up with.
Yeah, the other people are actually doing really. OEW's freaking awesome. I met John at that meeting, who who's no longer with us, but the Mark Casper is an awesome guy.
Yeah,
everything he does, I'm always like, that's so cool, that's so awesome.
I see you guys working together really closely going forward.
Yeah.
The two foundations or the two nonprofits. So cool, man. So the foundation's obviously you're trying to grow it nationally. So talk a little bit about your new partnership in Kansas.
So we help people on a national level no matter what, because someone might be stationed here in Virginia and they might end up in Montana, just to say where it's EOS, where they get out of the military and they travel back. So we'll try to hit them up wherever they are in the nation. But I had an opportunity. I actually drove to my military reunion back in California. Went around the United States with my sons, and we ended off visiting a good friend of mine that I grew up with in Kansas, who's heavily involved in the art district, who's a sculptor, awesome artist. I actually have purchased a lot of his stuff, and I've commissioned him to do art because I just love it so much. He takes it's reclaimed art. He takes things, scrap metal, and he makes art out of them, and it's just these beautiful pieces. I bought a lot of different things. Anyway, was sitting down with him. We were drinking a beer. All good things start with drinking a beer.
Amen.
Yeah, that's how actually the Marine Corps started. That's how they told us in boot camp. 4 Navy guys started something in the bar. They said, I want to do something cool. That's how the Marines were formed. So my best friend, who was a former Marine, says so, but whatever. So we were talking, and he was talking about what he wants to do. He's actually, this was a little while ago, but he has a company, Clover Gear Reclaimed Art. That's the name of his company. And what he wants to do is, besides making artwork, he wants to work with people. He wants to work with the homeless community. He wants to work with people, TBI, traumatic brain injury. Patients, or people who have suffered from it, or whatever have you, or people who just can't manage, people who are so stressed they can't deal with like the normal things. What he wants to do is work with them in art, therapeutic form of art, welding, pottery, whatever have you, and he knows what I wanted. So we were just talking, we were drinking beer, and he was like, so what does the Gilbert Foundation do? And I told him about it. He's like, man, I'd really like to do something with you. I was like, I don't really know what you can do. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so he started asking questions, and he wanted to know if we could team up. And it took me off guard because I really didn't know how to tackle that. And so anyway, push comes to shove, we are going to work with him. We're going to save X amount of seats a week for his class in his shop dedicated to veterans. And nice. He has a really good influence over there. We traveled around Kansas, and his artwork is actually in a lot of different places. The city has commissioned some of his artwork, and I thought it was awesome. I mean, I grew up with this guy. I started going to his shows. He's an artist. He's always played music, and the way he expresses himself is through art. And he was always stressed. Anyway, he wants to help people, and I want to help people, and it just kind of went together. So on November 1st. We're going to open up down in Kansas. We're going to open up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's freaking awesome. Yeah. And we're going to do fundraisers, and which is really cool because, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to lie, I love heavy metal. And, I grew up listening to heavy metal and punk rock and stuff like that. And he reached out to a lot of artists, and it's been really good. We have a good response. We have artwork from artists signed for fundraising.
Nice.
And it's so cool because people get a bad rap, for listening to heavy metal. I mean, I have tattoos, and people are like, oh, he does this. But really, I try to help as many people. It's the same thing, but they are welcoming. They want to help people out, and they're super motivated about tattoos community. Everyone's really cool. So, yeah, November 1st, I'll be out in Kansas doing a ribbon cutting and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's super excited about it. I am. His family is. My family. Everyone is.
There's a bunch of stigmas with different kinds of music, and and what it implies about the people that devil worshiping heavy metal. It's obviously a load of crap. I've grown up listening to metal my whole life, and I listen to a lot of stuff minus country, but it's still in my wheelhouse. I'm getting a little softer as I get older, though.
like I said, the people you have to watch out for are the people who listen to Don Henley. So that's all I'll say. Those are the people that you have to pay attention to, or like Boston. Those are the people. But
they're up to no good.
They are.
They're up to no good.
At the end of the year, we should be also in South Carolina, and we should also be in California.
What programs are those?
The same exact program that we have. So right now we're going to be pushing the mission for the certification, but we also do support work. And so what we're trying to do with the veteran empowerment is a lot of support work. So, and that's also what brings up to the veteran support stuff. And I think I mentioned before, we want to work with adaptive athletes, which, everybody needs help, regardless. But veteran empowerment, it's a really big thing. So this program with Kansas, it's all about veteran empowerment. We're just trying to expand on that, and we're trying to support that as best as we can. And we think we have a really good, field for that.
So what does it look like in the two other states? Are you going to be, set up outside or near big bases or big military communities? Is that what the idea is?
Not necessarily, because California is pretty much one base.
San Diego
has the largest conglomerate base in the world. Norfolk Naval Station has the largest single base, but San Diego is just full of bases. So if we do something in San Diego, or even between San Diego and Los Angeles, that'll be something. And then in South Carolina, two of our board members are actually in South Carolina, so we still have a really good presence over there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it helps out a lot. But with the veteran empowerment, so we started working with adaptive athletes, which is cool. We were just down in Florida for the 2018 National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We support a adaptive athlete, Lucas Meyer.
And what sport is that?
So it was bocce ball, it was soccer, and oh my gosh, man, it was like bowling.
So is he in a wheelchair or?
Yeah. So he's an incomplete quadriplegic. So he has minimal movements of his arms and hands. And this dude is just going to town. Like we were talking. Mind you, also we were stationed together. I always try to reach out to people that I know because we all have something. And which is pretty cool how it came about. I was like, hey Lucas, is anybody sponsoring you? No, I'd never talked to anybody. Can I sponsor you? I don't really know what to do. He's like, I don't know what to do either. So
here's some money.
Yeah.
Here's a shirt.
Here's some stuff. I don't know what to do with my hands, kind of thing. But me and him deployed I think twice. So we have a really good rapport. So I can say stuff to him, and he can say stuff to me, and it's cool. It's not like I'm trying to reach for something I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, but those guys are intense. If you're watching the live feed on it, those guys were nailing the mess out of each other with those wheelchairs. And you're like, oh man, there should be someone out there pushing them. No, it's not like that at all. They're yelling at each other. They're saying chosen words, and they're just getting it. And he walked out of there. Well, walked out. I can't say that. This is horrible. But he rolled out of there with a bronze and a gold.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the people that are working with him, his coaches, they're awesome people. In fact, actually, I just sent an email out to his coach. I appreciate you for being awesome, And mind you, that's not the professional thing, but when someone's awesome, you got to tell them they're awesome.
Yeah, they sound like they're competitors, regardless of adaptive athletes or limitations. They're still hardcore competitors. That's awesome.
They are. That's actually what's going to take us into the 2019. Yeah.
So the next upcoming athletic event is in Aspen.
Yeah.
And when is that?
Yeah. That's the 2019. That is the Winter Sports Clinic.
Okay.
At the end of March. So we're going to be there. Never been to Colorado. Well, I've driven through, but that's about as far as I go.
It'll already be snow on the ground.
Yeah. Well, he's good. I hope so. He's going to be skiing.
Holy crap.
Yeah. He was skiing before his accident. And he's going to be skiing now. And it's just awesome because you have to see, like...
I'd have to see it, right?
Well, every day we're like, oh, man, it's hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to do this. And I know people hear it all the time. You take things for granted. You're like, oh, I gotta put my pants on. The hardest thing for us to do in the day is just to wake up and get out of bed. But these people have minimal movement and everything. And this guy's going to ski,
That's crazy.
Yeah. I can't ski. I've seen it on TV, but that's as far as I go. I don't know.
All right, man. So tell me what it is about veterans and the Hemi Charger. I know that I've heard this story over and over. I heard it from you.
Mm-hmm.
You get out, you get your money, and the first thing people go do is go buy themselves a Charger with the Hemi in it.
It's true.
It's so cliche.
It's not. Yeah, it is. It is. Maybe people have like a Top Gun complex or something like that. I like Iron Eagle, maybe something like that. But you're maybe it's because they're used to like firing an M60 or a 16, 14's better. But I don't know. So I did it. I'm not gonna lie. I was in the Gulf, and I wanted to buy a Ford truck, and my supervisor was just my supervisor at the time. He was just looking at me while I was making this purchase in the Gulf, and he's just looking at it like, no. And I was like, I really want this. I want this truck. It's gonna be so cool. And he was just like, no one's gonna want to ride in your truck. You need to do this. And I was like, man, that's a lot of money. And he's like, it's all right. It's all right. I mean, I wasn't junior at all, but I walked out of there with an 07 Charger SRT. It was the coolest thing in the world. It was so big. It was so big. When I drove it off the lot, it was waiting for me when I got out of deployment. They drove it to where I was going to be, and they delivered it, and it was beautiful. I had never had anything like that in my entire life. I just kept looking at the engine. I was like, oh my God. And it was so cool. And you start buying the car magazines, you're like, I have that. And then you're like, well, this is not good enough. I have to change out the exhaust. So you have an awesome. Oh yeah. Oh, it was depressing. It was so depressing, But my supervisor was still like, that's what you have to do. And so
I think that's the same guy that must be talking to all the veterans, because it's like, it's such a cliche. It's a joke on Reddit I see over and over. What about the Hemi Charger I'm supposed to get?
When I see your car, I'm like, oh my God. Every time I see it, I'm like, that's so cool. I say it all the time. I'm like, that's so freaking cool. So I'm repeating myself, but I don't care.
Hey, I'm such a wannabe veteran.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So let's talk about the end game for the Gilbert Foundation. Where do you see the foundation when you're all old and ready to retire?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say that, benefits will change. Different programs will be out there for people, but I like to be helping people. I like for us to be a more of an influence with people. The hardest thing is just to get our name out there. Mind you, we're free. You use us. It's no charge to the veteran at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, what's in it for you? Like, nothing. I just want to see you happy. It's crazy. That's a thing. It's like,
that's what's so wild about this whole thing, man. This is all out of pocket for you.
It is.
And that's not how most nonprofits work, but this is quite the situation.
It is. And it's not like I'm a Care Bear or anything like that. I'm going to Care Bear all over you. No, but I just want people to use it, but I want to be a heavier influence with things. I want to be able to pass it on to the people that are working there. We have quite a bit of volunteers, and everyone's really awesome. You never know. But I want to do more things. You never know. We do certifications for people. Well, what's going to be around the corner for things? How are we going to be able to affect people in a better sense? And that's what it's all about. It's about us growing. You can't just do one thing and say, I'm just going to do this for 30 years or for 40 years or something like that. You have to change up your game because someone else is going to do it. I just think I could do it better. That's all.
Nice.
So
love that attitude.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's talk about how people can, get involved. You're looking for volunteers. The other thing is veterans that are listening, and I hope there are some, that say, hey, I could use a certification to get a better job. What's the best way to get a hold of you to get engaged with the Gilbert Foundation?
The website. That's the fastest thing. There's an email there. Every email that's sent out from that website, we do respond to. It's about the fastest response. So you can respond that way. You can talk to us on social media. We do have people, our volunteers, that monitor our social media account. I don't, because I'm extremely horrible at it. I thought that it was a what's it called, a virus. When I did a hashtag, and it took me to another page, and I shut it down because I thought it was a virus, and it was horrible. My kids made fun of me. So, but we monitor the social media. You can reach us that way. We have a phone number on the website. You can give us a call.
Yeah.
We're pretty responsive, though. If you need help, we will work with you.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. It's the Gilbert Foundation, inc.org. I'll definitely put this link in the description of the video. The phone number is 757-387-7884, and the email is info@thegilbertfoundationinc.org. Awesome, man. So any other shout-outs or upcoming events or engagements that people should know about?
Well, no, we have a lot of meetings coming up. Really just the games. But for the shout-outs, though, I have worked with an extremely great group of people. I would definitely like to say, Jeff Foster. Jeff Foster, taught me that the many suffer for the actions of the few. And he'll understand that, and so will the other people at ATG. Boa King Cox, we might have gotten into it a lot of times. He was my chief.
What a name.
Oh, it's a horrible name. Oklahoma name.
The Boa King?
Boa King Cox. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a title, that's a name.
No, but every time he would yell at us, it always looked like he had a stroke on the side of his face, so it was coming. And Master Chief Snyder, who couldn't pronounce my name when I first came in, who taught me to be humble about it, like, just get over it. That's it. Can't pronounce your name, just get over it. Otherwise, you're going to be having a lot of extra military instruction, and just everybody else that I've worked with in the past, because actually those are the people that inspired me. David Williams, he just picked up chief. He inspired me to kill people with kindness. I didn't think about that because I was always like, you need to do this. Like, whoa, take a break. If you're nice to people, you'll get a lot more out of people. Tim Loika, he's actually the one that designed some of our artwork. He just picked up chief, E7, which is awesome. I've known him since he was an E2. But everybody I've worked with, I like to give a shout out to. So that's actually what's the driving force of this, and our volunteers.
Excellent, man. Any last parting thoughts or anything else you want to mention?
No, Mom, I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. I appreciate your motivation and staying with me. So
came from his mama.
Yeah. So
all right,
that's
man.
it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on the show today, Nick. And everybody have a positive and productive day. Peace.